Hi, boys and girls. Today, for Friday, our lesson is on the following. It says, modeling for and with you, the students, how to interpret numerical expressions. So let's get going on some practice problems after a quick minute of review. Let's make sure that you have our vocabulary down. All right, so in our last lesson, we talked about the commutative process. The commutative process, have you ever heard of someone who has to commute to work? That means they have to move from one place to another. So that might help you to remember that this name of the property is about moving or switching. It's about how 2 plus 3 is the same as 3 plus 2. And it also works for multiplication. 3 times 2 is the same as 2 times 3. All right, associative project, the associative property, is all about associating, who you associate with, who is your best friend, who's not your best friend, and a lot of it has to do with parentheses. If I have 3 plus 2 plus 6, and I add my 3 plus 2 before I do my 6, it's going to be exactly the same as adding my 2 plus 6 and then adding on 3. So, yeah. And then remember, in addition, the word expression is used for any way to show a number. That could be, how 8 minus 4 equals my 8 minus 4. That would equal 4. And I could also do 3 plus 1. That could equal 4. There are lots of different expressions to show the same thing. Remember that it becomes an equation when you have an equal sign to show that both sides match each other. 8 minus 4 is the same as 3 plus 4. Those are expressions that are equal, and then that becomes an equation. All right, now let's move into our practice problems for today. I need to go right here and right there, and then let's open up the Solve and Share and take a peek at it. It says, Mrs. Katz is planning for her family's trip to the museum. She made a list of the expenses. Then she wrote the following expression to show how she can calculate the total cost. 6 times, and then in parentheses, 420 plus 8 plus 12 plus $3.50. How many people do you think are in the family, and how can you tell? Well, I'm thinking, based on this, because see right here it says the round trip bus fare per person is $4.20, and then the buffet is $8, the entrance fee is $12, and then the dinosaur lecture is $3.50. So I feel like that's the total cost for the trip, and then that must be times 6 because there's 6 people. You see that? That one's not too hard. You just got to think it through. All right, let's go and look at, try this. All right, this one says, Jimmy's clown costume requires 7/8 plus 1/2 plus 1 3/4 yards of fabric. His dad's matching clown costume requires 3 times this same thing as Jimmy, so 3 times as much. How does the amount of fabric needed for the dad's costume compare to the amount needed for Jimmy's costume? Well, I'm thinking that because it's 3 times this same amount as what Jimmy's is, we can just assume that he's 3 times bigger. Well, and that's pretty simple as far as a way to explain. All right, that lesson, nice and easy, and that should lead you right to your practice problems in your Google Classroom. Please make sure that you're working really hard. Make sure that when you finish your math practice problems that you move over to science. Today's the last day to get your projects done and turned in. And for those of you who had your projects done the first week, bless you. And please keep working through that study guide. I'll be so excited to see who's the first person who has done all of the quizzes and done them to 90% expectation. All right, have a wonderful weekend. Love you so much.